Perstein.
How about that? Reached our goal. Thank you guys so much. Let's give it up for everybody who donated, putting us over the top for the goal just in time. It was really, really great to see. And welcome back to the second half of our night here at TPA Talks. And I'm glad that you stuck with us because it's going to be a really special second half. We're going to, again, change things up a little bit. And one thing we've heard loud and clear from the Pink Agenda community is a desire for deeper conversations about important topics. And tonight's topic is a crucial one. I think you've seen a little bit tonight that health isn't just about medical treatments. It's about how we live each and every day. Fitness and nutrition both play a critical role in breast cancer prevention and care and overall well-being. Fitness and tradition, and not only that, but they play a role in our well-being, but there's something that we have expertise in this community, and they have a lot to share. So we've assembled this incredible lineup of panelists who are going to explore the topic from different angles, and they're going to empower us with knowledge that can help us really take control and take charge of our health. So now it's my pleasure to welcome to the stage the following guests tonight. I'm going to introduce all of them, and then they're going to join us. But first, tonight's moderator, a storyteller, a movement artist, a social impact producer, breast cancer survivor, and proud member of the Pink Agenda Leadership Council, Kaylee Scott. She deserves that. I like the woos. More woos. Can woo for everybody. Next up is Beth Nicely, a Broadway actor, founder of The Limit, and a nationally certified personal trainer. And Dr. Sherry Shen, a leading breast oncologist at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center and co-director of the Lobular Breast Cancer Program. Let's give it up for Dr. Sherry Shen. And Isabel Smith, founder of Isabel Smith Nutrition, host of the Well Fuel podcast, and a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and wellness expert. And last and not least, Anna Wassman-Cox, a former professional ballet dancer, founder of the Onco Ballet Foundation, and a two-time breast cancer survivor and advocate. Let's welcome all of our special guests to the stage.
All right, is this on? Okay, great. Thank you so much, Adam. Good evening, everyone. As he mentioned, my name is Kaylee Scott. I love that I'm looking at this for my intro. I'm a proud member of the Pink Agenda's Leadership Council and a breast cancer survivor. And tonight's topic is exploring the role of fitness and nutrition for overall well-being, which is extremely important to me and many young women, I think also everyone on this panel. And as a breast cancer survivor, I know how important maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be, not only for prevention, but during and after treatment. A lot of personal experience there, I think, especially after treatment. It's something that tends to be really challenging to find again. So when it comes to breast cancer, there are a number of ways you can protect yourself. And while it's important to note that several factors shaping your personal lifetime risk of breast cancer are completely out of your control, it's not your fault. And among them are genetics, family history, race, ethnicity, breast density, being born female. Turns out lifestyle choices can also play a role. According to a 2017 American Cancer Society study, nearly 42% of cancer diagnoses and 45% of deaths in the US are linked to controllable risk factors for cancer. Other studies have shown that as many as 50 to 70% of breast cancers can be prevented depending on when people adopt risk-reducing behaviors and lifestyle changes. So, while lifestyle choices can potentially lower your overall risk of breast cancer, it's important to note that there is no guaranteed breast cancer diet, exercise regimen, so-called cancer-fighting superfood. I feel like everyone who's had cancer can relate to someone being like, just have like more turmeric, you'll be fine. It'll be all good. So none of that or other silver bullet that is guaranteed to lead to total breast cancer prevention. So we can't completely prevent it, but there's a lot of steps that we can take to prevent it or to prevent recurrence if we've already experienced it. And so I'm so honored to be moderating this conversation, and we are so fortunate to have an esteemed group of experts with us tonight. So thank you all for being with us. Thank you all for being with us. And let's get this started. All right, so we all know healthy diet and regular exercise are important for our overall well-being, but those topics are each so broad. I personally am so lost when it comes to them. So, Dr. Shen, can you let us know why a healthy lifestyle is important for patients, not just to prevent cancer, but during treatment as well?
Yeah. A healthy lifestyle is helpful in reducing the risk of several different cancers, among which breast cancer is one. But for people who have been diagnosed with breast cancer, it can also help reduce breast cancer recurrence risk. And for patients that are living with breast cancer, it can help with tolerability of different treatments, such as chemotherapy or endocrine therapy. So it's so important. But I agree with you, it's such a broad topic. It's really hard to understand what exactly to do. It can be really overwhelming. So I find it helpful to rely on the data and evidence and what we do know. We know that a couple things can be really helpful. One is physical activity at a moderately vigorous level for at least 150 minutes per week, or at a vigorous level for at least 75 minutes per week. We know that limiting alcohol is important. I don't say eliminate. I know we all kind of need to live our lives, but at least limiting alcohol intake to fewer than about 4 drinks per week. And lastly, consuming a healthy diet. But diet is so hard to study scientifically, right? Because we all consume such different diets, even on a day-to-day basis. But what we do know is helpful is consuming a whole foods, plant-forward diet that is limited in processed foods, limited in added sugars. So those are kind of the major lifestyle factors that can impact upon breast cancer.
Thank you so much. That sort of leads us lovely right over to Isabel. So nutrition and exercise can have, like Dr. Shen was saying, a profound impact on our health in terms of many diseases, many kinds of cancer, other chronic illnesses. Diet itself can be complicated, and I would imagine no two people eat the same. A friend of mine who's in the audience the other day we were on the phone, and she mentioned something about something she was cooking, and I was like, oh, that's so healthy of you. I gotta catch up. So knowing that no two people eat the same, even if they tend to be in similar age range, socioeconomic range, how do you approach working with your clients to ensure that they are on the correct diet for them and their individual needs?
It's so simple and so complex, right? Because we take into so many factors when we think about people and what they eat and how they absorb and what they need and what their, heritage is and what their access is and how do they feel, right? So first and foremost, it's like, what are your main goals? What feels easy for you? What are things we can do without creating more stress? Because I think creating more stress to eat perfectly, stress is maybe up there with many other serious, risk factors. Creating more stress for somebody to try to get them to eat healthier, for me, is just really not. So as Dr. Shen said, we're like, can we eat more plants? Okay, great. This feels easy. Maybe we do it from canned or frozen or fresh or farmer's market, wherever we are. But I think a lot of people are asking about supplements these days. We'll talk about that later. Hint, hint. But, I think you can't supplement a diet. You have to supplement supplements. I think for me, I'm always asking my clients, patients about energy and how are they sleeping and how are you feeling every day, right? Because you can be doing all the right things, but feeling really crummy, and then I'm like, we're missing something here. I think most people don't get enough protein. I think our protein needs increase as we get older. I think there's a lot of myths and, you shouldn't be eating protein powders for all your protein out there for sure. But I think, as women, as people, I think we all need a bit more. And I think, really beyond that, it's how are you? What are you needing? you know, what's easy and how can we make it easier for you to meet your goals in a way that's not going to make you want to pull your hair out. So that's like kind of how I think about it. But my number one question for people is like, how's your energy? How's your sleep? Right? Like, and from there, we sort of like continue the conversation around individual needs. Cause like, you know, some people need more carbohydrates. Some people need more fat. You know, we all need less sugar, maybe a little less alcohol, but it's definitely an individual conversation. But I think if you're out there like thinking about like, how do I go about making changes, or what do I need more of, like how do you feel every day, right? Are you tired in the middle of the afternoon? Are you going for like large amounts of time without eating? We'll talk about fasting a little bit later. You know, maybe try to eat a little more frequently. You know, try to make your foods consistent, be on a schedule. Our bodies love rhythms, circadian rhythms. Our bodies are like behaving on rhythms. And if you can keep your weekdays and your weekends sort of the same in terms of your timing so that your body can feel consistent, that's going to make you have more energy, feel better, and don't forget to drink your water. Yeah. We should all probably be filtering our water too. Brita's fine, but our tap water is not what it used to be. So that was a long answer.
No, but good reminder, A, to hydrate in general, because I never do. But about...
That's a long
yeah,
answer.
no, I appreciate it. And also just the reminder that food is fuel.
Yes.
I think we often forget that and make it about many other things, but at the end of the day, food is fuel for the activities that we want to do. Such as just 150 minutes a week or more of aerobic exercise and strength training can play a role in preventing breast cancer and improving one's prognosis after a breast cancer diagnosis. I'm looking at Beth because this question is going to be to her, and she runs a space called The Limit, and I was like, okay, so that's 3 classes. That's 3 classes a week, 150 minutes. Very doable. So it is estimated that 1/3 of breast cancers could be prevented with lifestyle choices, particularly those that help maintain a healthy weight, including eating a balanced diet and exercising. So Beth, tell us, what is your, and this is a bit of a broad question, so feel free to narrow it down in whatever way makes sense, but what is your recommendation for us all?
Well, it kind of goes along the same lines of it is going to be something individual to everyone. I think that it can be very intimidating when you know, with the word workout or exercise or training or what am I supposed to be doing? And I think taking the stress out of it, everyone's at different levels, right? We're all at physical different levels. And so, you know, for me to give a recommendation, a general recommendation, it's also specifically to women as well. It's different stages of lives that are different types of workouts that are going to help, especially even with chemotherapy. We have some clients that train with our trainers, you know, on certain days post their chemo treatments. And there's a lot of studies out there that it's very helpful to just get moving with chemo treatments, with the medication, and just get your body moving, the blood flowing throughout your body. But in general, to take the stress out of it, we should always all be strength training, no matter what, any age. More important later in life, it's the way to strengthen your bones. It's the way to change your hormones in your body, right? Especially as you go through perimenopause and menopause. We should all be, and this is maybe not a popular opinion, but we should all be jumping and doing high intensity workouts. Now, to take the stress out of it, that's different for everybody, right? Sometimes the high intensity or jumping is getting up in the morning and just jumping to a song. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's like box jumping, you know, on a plyo box. It's different for everybody, but the benefits are still going to be there for whatever, you know, that level is. So if you can just take the stress out of like, I could never do that. I'm pretty sure we could all like play our favorite song and kind of jump around for 3 minutes, right? You know, like, and just start there, start anywhere. When it comes to strength training, it's like, I can't lift heavy weights. Well, you could probably lift 2 or 3 pound weights to start, and that might be hard for you at first, and that's totally fine because that's your own body's personal resistance level, and that's strength training. So to take the stress out of it, it's funny that I keep saying take the stress out of it. It's important to take mentally the stress out of it, but there is good stress, and that's what your body needs to adapt to, is good stress on it. No, not a lot of people like to do it. Not a lot of people like to work out. I love to work out, so that's why that's my career. But there's good stress, and to stress your body and make it have good stress on it, and then learn how to recover and adapt and persevere through that stress, teaches your body internally how to do that with a lot of other things given to your body to have to persevere through. So, the 100, that's exactly right. 150 minutes minimum, that's minimum a week of aerobic activity, light to moderate, and then 75 minutes of vigorous, so that's more of the high intensity HIIT kind of stuff. And again, that might be jumping around to your favorite song. You might be like, oh, I'm dying. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. And that's high intensity for you, and that's okay. And then the more you do it, the body's smart, right? The body will adapt to whatever you give it. So if you're sitting all day long like this, your body's gonna adapt to be really good at this like posture and sitting. If you sit all day long like this and engage your core and your upper back, your body's gonna get really good at doing that. Everyone's like, but it's true. Your body is so capable, and I think that that taking the stress out of what's required right away is very scary. You don't have to do that right in the beginning to start. Like if you're like 150 minutes, just start with 20 minutes, 10 minutes, and just work up to it. It doesn't have to be like all or nothing right away. So that's taking that kind of stress out of it. And also when you are working out, just remember that it's good stress. This is good for me. Even if I'm dying, trying my hardest and I'm just, struggling. It's good stress. You might not want to do it, but guess what? You'll be able to do 20 minutes of the good stress. You'll be able to do 30 minutes, and then you'll meet your minimum requirement for internal health, right? So that was kind of a long answer too. But there's good and bad stress, and the bad stress is putting it on yourself that you have to do all of the requirements right away. Take that away. The good stress, just stress yourself little bits and little bits with picking up some weights, getting your heart rate up, and go from there. Yeah. I think that's the most important. Yeah.
It kind of makes me think about just
we're all
now
no one's gonna sit there. We're gonna sit
really going to mind my posture.
Yeah.
It sort of makes me think about your 100% one day, your 50% today is your 100% tomorrow, and as long as you show up and make good choices, whatever it is, with less self-judgment and just more kind of a holistic overall methodology to it. Seems to be what I'm hearing. I don't know about everyone else, but that's what's landing for me. So along those same lines of just physical activity being super important and ways to make it fun and engaging and getting your body, getting those 20 minutes up to 150 minutes and more. Anna, you are a former dancer as well as a breast cancer survivor, by the way, 2-time breast cancer survivor before the age of 30. Woo! So we're so happy you're here. And what role has exercise played and movement played in your life after, really through treatment and after diagnosis?
Yeah, absolutely. And just to kind of echo everything we've been talking about, when you go through treatment, especially once or even twice, you are really stressed out. Your body is in that fight or flight, and you're also exhausted from treatment and everything. So to the exercise and movement thing, I like to tell myself that I actually don't like the word exercise. It's funny, I'm a dancer, I've been active my entire life, but when you're done with treatment, you're like, the last thing I want to do is exercise. I just want to lay there, or even, when you're in treatment. And so for me, I started asking myself, okay, what does my body want? And it wanted to be active. It wanted just gentle movement certain days. And so for me, it was reframing, okay, yes, I can just jump around, like Beth was saying, and dance to my favorite song. And that's kind of what led to me being able to stay active through treatment and then after treatment as well. And I think you're right. Like, I think we punish ourselves and think, oh my gosh, I have to do all these things all the time. And really, it's finding those things you love and reframing it in a way that brings you joy. And that's really, for me, what brought me joy during treatment was dancing. And it can be dancing, it can be hiking, swimming, maybe even just walking your dog around the block. But it's finding those things that you want to do that help you feel like, oh, okay, I'm getting my 150 minutes of exercise a week, and it's what I need. And so I think just reframing that and bringing joy into your life by finding that thing that brings you joy, it doesn't feel like exercise anymore. It just feels like movement and like you're being active. Yeah.
Which is so important for me personally, as I think many people on this panel know. Like, I need it to be fun. Yes. Like, if I'm working out, I better be having a good time. So on that note, Dr. Shen, as we enter the age of, this has that, like, I couldn't find a way. I couldn't find a way in, so we're just moving to this question. Dr. Shen, as we enter the age of precision medicine, where oncologists are now able to recommend various therapies and treatment plans for each individual's breast cancer, how does this translate to how exercise fits into breast cancer prevention?
Sure. There's no one-size-fits-all breast cancer treatment, and I think it's the same with lifestyle recommendations and plans. There's no one-size-fits-all as well. And I think even in one individual's kind of treatment trajectory, we could have a lot of different recommendations at different time points too, right? So for example, someone who's undergoing chemotherapy, the goal might be to just eat something, to have a plan that helps mitigate nausea and fatigue and just get out of bed during the day. During endocrine pill therapy, it might be about trying to reduce side effects like joint pain, and that's where kind of a more formulaic exercise or activity plan, movement plan, can help with that. And there are certain foods that we can consume that, for example, like Dr. Hirschman earlier talked about omega-3 fatty acids and acupuncture. Like, there are different things we can do to mitigate those side effects. And then in the long term, we might talk more about lifestyle factors that can reduce that breast cancer recurrence risk. So a lot of different ways that we can personalize for each individual patient. And I think we really have to take into account, where does someone start out? Kind of what are their baseline patterns? What are their personal preferences, their current, lifestyle and schedule? And then we have to take into account their breast cancer treatment as well. And kind of even more so moving towards personalized medicine and lifestyle plans too, we're changing the way we do clinical trials too, where we're approaching exercise and diet with the same level of rigor that we have treated drugs in terms of drug development. So, we bring drugs through phase 1 trials, phase 2, and then phase 3, and we're now starting to approach exercise and diet in the same way, where we test different dosages of exercise. We try to really isolate and understand the effect of exercise on the cancer specifically, for example. So I think, every day we're moving more and more towards that personalization.
That's so interesting, and it's also something that I would do when I was first, and I suppose I still do it, but when I first was out of treatment and done every exercise or dance class I took, I was like, I really was tying it back to, in my head, I was like, I should deduct this from my taxes. Like, this is for my health. Like, this is part of my medical expenses. And it's so interesting to hear actual people in the medical field tying that in as well. That's so great. And similarly, I think, to tying in the wellness and exercise of it all with the traditional medicine is something like, Beth, what you've done with your post-mastectomy program. So if you don't know, and if this is applicable to you or you can share it with a friend, you definitely should. But Beth and The Limit, they really transform the recovery process with a 12-week post-mastectomy program for survivors. And can you talk about why it's important to get moving so soon after surgery, and like when your program starts after surgery, and just a little bit about it?
Yeah. As a trainer, I'm always learning. I'm certified through a nationally accredited organization. I have specializations in corrective exercise, pre-postnatal, women's fitness, youth fitness. And so I'm always learning. I always want to learn. And as we've been talking about how everyone's individual, right? At different baselines. Baseline's huge, in giving information on really what to do on, your path. But when I started working with a client who had a mastectomy, I was like, all right, let's approach this. I've never worked with anyone with a mastectomy before. And so I started into my research on how we were going to train her back. Her baseline, very athletic, very physical. So, and so I was like, okay, this will be a great learning experience for both of us. She was ready to have a plan, which is very important, and I'll circle back to that. But so I started researching, and I was like, some random home video from some, I don't know, physical therapist, which is physical therapists are amazing. I was like, okay, but how often do you do this? Or I was just, you know what I mean? I was like, okay, that's a great exercise, but this is one video. I was like, okay. And my patient was like, Beth, you should just do an entire series, 12 weeks, 3 months, great section of recovery time. Doesn't complete the recovery, obviously, as you know, and I was like, okay, let's do it. So I worked with her, and I've had other patients since, and starts with day 3 to 7 post-op. As you know, it's getting moving is huge. It's scary, very scary to get moving. So I worked with my good friend, Dr. Danny Luna, who's also she's a physical therapist, worked with a lot of breast cancer patients. I was like, come in, everybody. We're making this great thing. And then we have 4 survivors, all went through mastectomies, doing the series as well. And yeah, it's days 3 through 7 post-op to get you moving, gentle, it's very, very gentle just to move. Just like we were talking about our posture, just, you know what I mean? Just gentle to start. Just as you know, what I was saying, the body is smart. The body is very adaptable, very capable, and I think that we don't really think about that or ourselves that often. And so if you have just a little bit of confidence given to you, of I can do this, or I can follow this. The body responds even after such a huge surgery. The body can still move, gently, and then slowly. So each video is it's days 3 through 7, and then we keep going week by week, and it tells you to do these exact videos each week, and then you progress to them. If you don't feel ready to progress to the next video, totally fine. Keep doing days 3 through 7. It's all based off of where you are in your recovery, and it goes through 12 weeks, and the whole purpose of it is to get you back to activities of daily life and feeling confident working out again. That's really the basis of it. As you know, opening the fridge, reaching to get, get something high. So working with that and working with my patient, it just was so wonderful. 1,023 women have done the videos, and it's just so great to see our work with Dr. Danny Luna, myself, and patients, and just creating something that never existed, circling back to a plan. I don't know, you know what I mean? What do I do? And there's no one out there giving a plan to anyone, for movement, mobility, strength. And so to have a plan, the amount of feedback that we've gotten, people that have found out about it, please tell everyone it's free. The whole series is completely free for anyone who needs it. About like how many people have commented of, I'm about to have my mastectomy, and I just found this, and this is just like, it's just comfort, right? To be like, okay, I'm gonna go through this, and then I know exactly what I'm gonna do right after. Like I have a guided, safe plan through a certified trainer with experience, with all of these people in it who've gone through what I've gone through, and a doctor of physical therapy who's worked with many breast cancer patients who have gone through mastectomies. And just having that plan and support, I think, is the biggest thing in general. Just support, and a plan with support, because that just gives you comfort and safety in a time of chaos, and not belief in yourself, not knowing what to do, like in anything. So that's the biggest thing for the plan with me, for everyone. And the exercises are as intense or as gentle as you feel. Like you're saying, you have up days, you have down days. And sometimes, we mentioned in the video too, sometimes you're just like, maybe I just sit here with good posture today, and that's fine. But it goes week by week. And you do the videos as often as you can, because the more movement you can do as often as you can is better overall. And we focus on strengthening. Oh, we just had this conversation backstage. Strengthening assisting muscles, which a lot of times people don't think about, right? Your pecs have a number done to them. You've had tissue removed, and everyone's like, you can never do a push-up again. And I'm like, well, you don't have to if you don't want to. You don't have to do a push-up ever again if you won't want to, but if you do, you can. Because push-ups are not just done with your pecs. They're done with your shoulders, your biceps, your core, your legs. So it's strengthening your assister muscles, because again, your body is so capable and smart that it can really adapt to anything that you might be missing, that might not fire up like it used to. And so that's what we do as well. I'm like, get your shoulders ready, folks. We're gonna strengthen those shoulders. So anyways, it's a 12-week post-mastectomy recovery series, and it's helped a lot of people. So if you know anyone that wants something like that, please,
And
tell them about it.
as you told me, there's no expiration date on it, so it doesn't have to be immediately after if you just end up needing it at any point.
At any point, yeah.
'Cause
It works on mobility and strength, and it doesn't have to be days 3 to 7 post-op. You might be like, oh, I can skip this week, if you start it later, or I can go, this video. This is actually just my favorite video. I just like one video in the whole thing, that's helping me out. So I can do that one, So
this one's ASMR to me.
Yeah. So the series is out there for just guidance for 12 weeks post-mastectomy. Yeah.
Amazing. And it is like so important to have, for me, speaking for myself, not for anyone else, but it is so important to have truly any guidance. There is so much information out there about so many things, exercise, treatment options, any sort of movement, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. A lot of times they conflict. And also, I'm sure we can all agree, so much information about healthy living, we'll call it, and nutrition. And over the past decade, and even more since the pandemic kind of really awakened people to this, there's been a phenomenon on the number and range of supplements that people are on. Everything from immune boosters to vitamins to weight loss supplements. I keep adding things to smoothies. I'm like, okay, I don't know, is this right? So Isabel, is that right? Can you tell us what you're seeing and what you're telling your clients? Am I wasting $5 on what I'm adding in my smoothies?
So I think even as just like a practitioner, but like a person, you see something and you're like, I want that, that sounds good for me, this too. And I can feel like a bit of a hoarder in my own right, supplement list, and about 5 years ago, I have Lyme disease. I have a history of Lyme disease and a whole bunch of other things, and I was like, are these things actually helping me, or are they just impeding other things from getting absorbed? Because we only have so much, talk about supplements, since we started on this topic, we only have so much we can actually absorb in meals, and certain supplements can get in the way of your food actually being absorbed. And I'm a super fan of supplements when they're used responsibly, when you're taking ones that are made super well by, really good companies. Be really careful these days of Amazon purchasing supplements. There's a lot of counterfeit stuff going on Amazon. So either buy from the, manufacturer, reach out to a healthcare, professional like myself or another dietitian, or doctor, or whatever. Make sure that you're taking something from a company that's reputable, because I think the most common, I get a lot of emails from my clients at weird hours because they got some spammy email that makes you feel like you're gonna die if you're not taking this supplement now. So I get these panicked emails because they got on these people are like expert marketers, and they write these crazy text blurbs about, if you don't take this, you're never going to lose weight, or you're going to get cancer, whatever it is. And I'm like, that's your first thing. If there's some kind of immediacy around some language that you should, that's a big red flag to me. I think from my perspective, most people need a multivitamin these days, because I think our food is super low in nutrients. I can rattle off a couple of brands I like, because I'm sure people are like, hey, which ones? Pure Encapsulations is a favorite. Designs for Health is a favorite. New Chapter's a good one. Garden of Life is a good one. When in doubt, Whole Foods carries pretty good brands, so you could go there. I think omega-3s are really important. They help generally reduce inflammatory processes, prostaglandins, cytokines in the body. Magnesium and minerals tend to be ones that people need more of. And then we have I like probiotics, but there's certain ones for certain things. So when you are getting your beverage with all the probiotics in it, you're probably not getting the best quality in your $4 drink. So, I looked at somebody's stool test today, because I'm in the integrative world, and I was like, I know what this person eats, and they had the lowest healthy bacteria that I've seen. And I'm like, I know she drinks and eats a lot of those foods with all the probiotics in them. Take a good product, ask a professional if you have a question about that. But I get a lot of questions about these immune boosters, right? Vitamin D is really important. I should mention that one. You should definitely be asking your provider to make sure that your vitamin D level is good. That one is one that we can all agree on is really important, right? But all the other ones that are immune boostery, if you're not getting it through your food, there's certainly options too. Vitamin C is amazing. But again, you want to have a personalized plan for yourself that actually fits your needs, because in some cases, taking more can actually be a really bad move. And I do have a lot of clients, patients on GLP-1s these days, and my number one concern is how little food and nutrition they're getting. So I'm support them. I think they're great. There's a lot of great uses for them, as long as somebody is getting their nutrition. Because what I don't want is somebody to just lose a bunch of weight from not getting nutrition. I worry about cancer risk from that. I worry about bone density. I worry about all these important things that's what goes through my brain. But then I get questions about fasting and exosomes and peptides. I think we want to just make sure we're eating well, taking supplements that are appropriate for ourselves, getting more sleep, not doing anything that sounds particularly crazy. So feel free to send me a DM on Instagram if you're like, is this crazy? You can go to my website and reach out to us. I never mind answering. This sounds a little nuts. You might want to get a proper opinion on it. But that's sort of did that answer your question?
It did. No, it did. I think it's maybe get as much as you can from food and fill in the rest.
I think that's really where we are.
So we are approaching being out of time. So I have one final question, and this is going to be for everyone. And that final question is, what is one key takeaway that you each hope to share with the audience today that would help them take charge of their health? And Anna, we'll start with you, and then we'll go on down the line.
Okay, great. One key takeaway, I think we can relate this to both anybody here today or anybody who's also faced breast cancer at any age, is really get to know your body. get to know it in terms of just what is normal for your body. I think we've all kind of seen some great examples tonight of what does that mean to know, okay, what supplements or what type of exercise or what should I be doing, like, and asking my doctor about too. But it's just get to know your body, and on top of that, like, get to know what brings you joy. Don't do the exercise that you're like, oh, I really don't want to do this. I mean, of course, there's some that are good for you too, right? Like, I do need to lift some weights, I know this. But it's, find that thing that brings you joy, because you're going to do that more. And it's going to help you just feel good in your body. And then you'll also just know, like, knowing your body, you'll be able to know when something's off. I mean, I found my breast cancer twice. And I could feel it both times, and both times I instinctively knew in my gut that something was wrong. So find that thing that brings you joy, and for me, that's dance. And so, dance along the way.
So I'm re-inspired to get back on my cardio game, because I have not been so on my cardio game, so thank you. I'm taking that away from tonight. I would say if they're, I think I said this in my first answer, pay attention to your energy and try to get better sleep. I would say those are the two things that I harp on all day. I do tell people to skip their workout if they're not getting good sleep.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I'm
no,
like,
I do actually agree on that.
because I think we're doing ourselves more harm to like wake up for the 5 a.m. alarm. If you really need that rest, get the sleep and then work on getting up, But I think the sleep is really top.
I would say advocate for yourself. That's kind of like my main takeaway. I think you're not alone in this journey, or whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of us on your team, particularly if you have a breast cancer diagnosis. You have a medical oncologist, you have a surgeon, you have a radiation oncologist. If you have questions about lifestyle and kind of healthy living, ask them. Don't be afraid. If one person doesn't answer your questions, ask another member of your team. If I don't know the answer to a specific brand of supplement, I can at least refer you to someone who does. And so really advocate for yourself. Don't let us off the hook. We're here to help you, and your kind of well-being is our number one priority.
I think on my end is always remember how capable you are, physically and mentally. And whether you need a plan or a guide, like the series, a nutritionist, any, like you said, reaching out, and if you need guidance in any way to help with that confidence and remembering how capable you are physically and mentally, do it. And then that physical part, it's whatever you can do, yeah? And then go from there, as we've talked about. But I think the biggest thing, in training for me as a trainer is showing everyone how capable they are physically and mentally, and it doesn't matter where you start. But just remember that confidence in yourself. Humans, the body can really, endure and persevere, and just remember that for yourself, because I think even myself, we lack confidence sometimes, I mean, I'm pregnant and I'm like, can I do this? You know what I mean? Like, but yes, but wherever you need to help in that support to find that confidence, find it. Nutrition, exercise, mental health, anything, joy, just remember you are capable, and to just find that confidence in yourself. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you. And words to live by, truly. Thank you so much. I think in your programs, there's information. You should follow all 4 of these incredible women in the ways that you can. Let's give them a huge round of applause. Thank you so much, all of you, for all of your answers. I find you all very inspiring and so helpful. So this has been great, and I hope all of you found this as insightful and empowering as I have. And that concludes the panel. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Kaylee.
Please welcome back to the stage TPA President Nicole Seagriff and Vice President Samantha Golkin-Niliazzo.
We're just going to have a quick stage change to get ready for one last short part of tonight's event. But we are just incredibly grateful to our panelists who joined us tonight and shared all of their insight. I know I'm going to be working on my posture and appreciate Beth reminding us of that. But very grateful to Kaylee, Beth, Dr. Shen, Isabel, and Anna, and we think that was a really insightful conversation. So I'm here on stage with Vice President of the Pink Agenda's Board of Directors, Samantha Golkin-Niljatso, and we are co-chairs of tonight's event and have been since we started in 2018. And so we hope that everyone leaves here feeling empowered and informed, but also proud to support the Pink Agenda and the work that we're funding. This event was made possible by two sponsors, A&M and Kirkland & Ellis, and we are very grateful for their support. I would also like to thank our brilliant lineup of inspiring speakers and panelists, of course our moderator Kaylee and our host Adam, who really generously lent of their time and talents this evening. We feel so lucky to have them with us, and their commitment to the cause is really beyond measure. Finally, I'd like to give a special thanks to our friends at the Sheen Center who year after year provide us with such great hospitality, and so a big thank you to Victoria, Phil, and Joe.
This event would also not be possible without the Pink Agenda's Education Committee, who's worked tirelessly to ensure tonight's success, including Pamela, Blythe, Robin, Nicole, Tierney, Natalie, Caroline, Marites, Brittany, Judy, Abby, Marlia, Jonathan, Shayla, Eleanor, and Mel. Thank you. A special thanks again to Joe, our board member, for joining us on stage earlier this evening. We hope to see you again at the events that are coming up during the year, including the Pink Agenda's annual Spring Fling on May 5th at Maid Rooftop, TPA Supper Club Brunch Edition on Sunday, May 18th at Quality Bistro, and TPA at the Ball Game on Tuesday, June 3rd, when the New York Yankees take on the Cleveland Guardians at Yankee Stadium. Also, be sure to save the date for our annual gala on Thursday, October 9th at Tribeca Rooftop. Together, we're making a difference for ourselves and for the next generation. Thank you so much. Now we've got one special treat left on the program for tonight, and before we wrap up the evening, I'd like to take a moment to truly highlight a truly unique and inspiring initiative. The Onco Ballet Foundation, founded by our panelist Anna Wassman-Cox, is a groundbreaking organization that merges the healing power of movement with resilience of those affected by cancer. Through ballet, Anna provides cancer patients and survivors with the opportunity to regain their strength, confidence, and connection to their bodies in ways that go far beyond traditional treatment. Anna's own personal story and journey as a two-time breast cancer survivor inspired her to create this foundation, and tonight, we're fortunate enough to experience a performance that showcases both the power of dance and the courage of those in our community who continue to fight. So thank you for supporting such an incredible initiative, and please enjoy a special performance by the dancers of the Onco Ballet Foundation.